Well, hey friends and neighbors, this is Chuck out at Sheraton Park Farms. Welcome back to the farm. So a few months ago, we started working on a fencing project. And we done a video where we were clearing some trees out through the woods, getting ready to install some fence. Well, life happens, the farm happens, lots of stuff are going on, lots of stuff's always going on. So we're finally to the point that we can work on that some more. And we've actually been working on it a little bit along as we've had time, putting some posts and that kind of thing in. But today, we're going to show you how we finish up a section of high tensile fence using a product called Timeless Fence. Been real impressed with this. Works really well. We're excited to be using it. So we're going to show you the product. We're going to show you some tips and tricks on some things that we've done to make it work, and stick around to the end. We're going to show you the mistakes that we've made. But this is our first time, and I think we can improve on the boo-boos that we've made going forward to make it better. And we got a lot of fencing to do around here. Fence important. You got to keep your animals home. Your neighbors don't want them. You don't want them in the road. So hang around with us for a little bit, and so we can get some fence put in. Back last winter, I think it was, we had done a video where we were clearing out along this creek line here to run some fence, and we never circled back to talk anymore about the fence. But what we're doing is we're putting in some high tensile down here on this lower meadow. So this is all the lower field as you come into the property on the right hand side of the road. And we're working on putting in some high tensile. We've got barbed wire along the driveway up here at the top, but there's nothing down here at the bottom to keep the cows out of the creek or from leaving the property, because I don't know if y'all can see it through the brush, but right there's the property line, and there's barbed wire there, and it is not in the sound like the tide coming in. It's not in the best of shape, so we're working on putting some fencing in down here. Now, we have elected to use the Timeless Fence product, and so far JW has put in a couple of corners, and we have driven in some of these posts from Timeless Fence. Now, these are their T-posts. We elected to go with 1 3/4 inch. We buy these from there's a local distributor here in town, but we did talk to Mike McElroy over at Timeless whenever we were designing and figuring out what all we needed to put in. You can't see them. There's more posts here. This is just all stuff that we've kind of done. We'd have an hour in the afternoon, or a few minutes, and we'd come in and drive some posts in. So we're really working in earnest now to get all of our fencing in. So this is one of our corners. Now on these corners, JW, what are these things? Are they 3-inch?
3 inch each.
Yeah, these are 3-inch each. And this is an H brace, or an H post. And we're going to put in the bracing on this, and we're going to start pulling a little bit of wire here today. We've got some wire in up at the hay barn. I don't know if you can even see it through the camera right now. We got some wire in, but today we're going to put this. We're going to finish this brace off. This is going to be a corner right here, and we're going to have a string gate here so that we can get down to the creek if we need to, and it's not completely cordoned off. But yeah, we'll show you how this thing goes together. Okay, so this is called a floating H brace. Is that right?
This is called the New Zealand style floating A-frame end brace, or if you put two of them together, you can make a corner. Whenever we bought it, we bought the H post, and then this come already cut at a 45 on this end, but it was a lot longer, and the instructions were to go and drill down into the ground at a 45-degree angle with an auger, and then bury that with an 80-pound bag of Quickcrete and connect it. But we just modified these to where we could use this as the A-frame floating end brace. And all I did was, this was already cut at a 45-degree angle on this side, so I measured back 48 inches and cut a 45-degree angle over here. And then all you have to do is kind of get it lined up here. Make sure you're all square and everything, and drill you a new hole. This piece already has a hole through it, so you just need to drill you a new hole here, and then come down here and drill you a hole on this side of the brace, and then a hole on the back side of this brace, and we'll run a tension wire right here. And what that does, whenever you tension that, it'll put pressure against the top of this post and keep it from pulling that direction.
And now we put a couple of these in, and they're tight. I mean, this is putting it on that concrete block. Those pavers, we bought those, what, $2, $1.50.
Yeah, $1.
They were cheap,
yeah.
Cheaper than a bag of Quikrete and renting an auger, a hand auger. But this thing, I mean, it's solid, ain't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. And I mean, there'll be pressure on this, and you won't be able to pull this up off the ground, but you can kick it back from side to side. That's the floating part about it.
Yeah.
So I mean, if it was in a high traffic area where you had cows and everything a bunch, you might want to run you a wire inside here just so they couldn't bump into it. But I mean, this is going to be in line, so there's not going to be any worries. This isn't a corner here. There's just going to be a rope gate right here. Yeah,
so that we can get down to the creek if we need to for something.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Good deal. Now that hole is to pull your wire back, right?
Pull your tension wire. This is made for another white piece of fiberglass that's tubular like that.
Yeah.
Is that if you have it the way that it's supposed to be, but we're modifying this a little bit. So you put it over here so that your wire is pulling against that center part right there. Because you'll see as we tension it up, this will dig into that a little bit.
Yeah.
And if you had it on this side over time, it could pull through that.
Pull completely through. Yeah, that makes sense.
Run your wire. Through that. Through that side. Whenever you're doing connecting to these strainers, run your high tensile up through the hole, then grab the top of it and bend it back on itself. Make you a little hook like it right there, then it won't go anywhere. Grab your tensioner.
Don't we have an impact wrench we could use, or an impact driver we could use for this? Don't we have a battery-powered machine for such activities?
It's all right by hand.
Oh yeah, you can really see that's pulling. That's pulling that. Oh yeah, so that's pulling this brace tight.
And that's about all you need. You can tell right here it's already pushed the H post back, and that's all right because whenever we put our high tensile this way and start tightening it, it'll pull it back that way.
So it'll pull it back into plumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little out of plumb right now. You can tell just by eyeballing it.
And so on our end post here, all we're using is these quick end connectors. Once you slide the wire through there, you can't pull it back this way.
It grips it, yeah.
Yeah, it grips it. If you have to take it off, you can cut it on this side and pull it back out that side.
Yeah.
But once you put it in there, it don't come back out.
It ain't coming out, yeah.
No. And those just slide right into any of these holes, wherever you want to position your wire at.
And so now we're doing 5 wire. And what's the height?
We're doing 12 inches off the ground.
Okay.
So these holes are spaced 3 inches apart. So that's 3 inches off the ground. So 3, 6, 9. We're doing 12, 9, 9, 9, and then 6.
Okay. And that's going to give us 5 strands of high tensile. And real quick, we put Quikrete in this, dug a hole, and then put the post down in there and put Quikrete around that. So that's concreted in the ground.
And for the most part, these holes line up going through this. There's only one hole that we have to drill, and that's right up here at the very top. Just have to drill through the back side of this block right here, because we have to go through that hole that's right behind it.
Okay, to get that, that's about the 3rd wire up or something, ain't it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we slide the, so you starting on the bottom or the top with these?
I start on the bottom.
Start on the bottom, okay. So we'll take our quick end, 3, 6, 9, 12. Maggie's over here.
That
so,
one?
Yeah, this one right here. Yep, so we're gonna run the wire through there. Okay. Pull it all the way through. Okay.
Keep going. Okay, right there.
Right there. That's where you want it.
We're putting our tensioner.
So you leave your tensioner out up there. Okay.
And then we just come over here.
Slip your end down over it. And now that thing, you can't pull it backwards now, right?
No.
It won't come backwards.
It won't come back. So once you're in, you're in. So since we're not hooking this up right now, we'll just leave it like it right there for right now.
Okay.
But then we'll pull it back.
So you can make it shorter on that end, but you can't pull it the other way.
No.
Okay. So you got to be careful with that. All right. And then we're just going to do that same thing 4 more times.
Yep.
Right. Okay. And one of the big things that really attracted me to this is, and I've seen Greg Judy use it. There's actually another farm here about 20 minutes away. The whole farm's got this on it. It looks nice. I mean, this stuff, it looks clean, it looks professional. And this Timeless stuff, 20-year warranty. Don't have to paint it. And it's non-conductive. So the post is the insulator. You know, and I don't remember what we paid for these posts. I'll look and see. But if you were buying green metal T-posts and buying insulators to go on them, you're going to pay about the same amount as what these cost. But on the green T-posts with the insulators, you break an insulator and you're done. You've got a ground. And we're talking about hundreds. We don't have hundreds out yet. We're talking about hundreds of potential ground rods that you're going to lose your juice on. Here, you don't have to worry about it because these posts non-conductive. No big deal. Okay, we're back down at the end post here, and JW's got all of our strainers put in place. And these are those end taps that we were talking about a while ago. Right there. So I think I pulled that down. So we've got the spinning Jenny here. You got to have one of these if you're going to pull high tensile. Wire goes on there. We'll show you here in a minute. As you pull it along, that thing just spins around and unrolls your wire. And you got to be real careful with this stuff. If you kink it, it will break. We're using the 12,000. Is it 12,000 psi? 12,000 psi wire. So we're going to start pulling, and we're just going to pull it this way. And JW's going to thread it through, or me, whoever pulls it. We're going to just thread it through the appropriate eye on the post, and we're going to run this thing all the way around the field back up to the back up to that corner there. So let's get to pulling some wire. JW's pulled this wire the entire length and fed it through this top hole and all those posts coming off that spinning Jenny. So you see, it's real floppy. There's no tension on it, but that wire now goes from this end post right here all the way back down to the end post that we were just at. So what happens next is we're going to take the end of this wire and we're going to connect it to this strainer and pull a little bit of tension on it.
And you want to figure out which direction this is turning. So it's going that way. You want to bring your wire up and feed your hook the same direction that's turning.
So we just thread that up through one of the holes in the strainer. And he's going to take a pair of pliers and put just a little curve in that thing.
Like so.
Just like that right there.
Then you take and pull it back tight like that right there. And whenever you turn it, your wire will stay put.
And you want to roll this up kind of neat on your strainer if you can, so it looks nice. You don't want a sloppy looking fence. And then how many turns we put on that thing?
You can go about 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
Is good enough. That'll be enough for right now.
Okay. Now we're going to go back down to the other end. We're going to do the same thing there. Pull tension, and then that'll be the last strand of this fence. Look how nice those first 4 look. I mean, that's a good looking fence. All for that crowd right there. So we're just going to take this last wire that JW pulled right here, and we're going to pull some of the slack out of it as much as we can. You tell me when. Okay. We're going to pull some of the slack out of it, and now we're just going to repeat that same process, what we've done down yonder. You're going to figure out which way his things turn. Feed his wire in there. Put a little crook in it. There we go. And now he's going to get his handy dandy little tool. And we're going to roll tension on it. And as he's spooling that up, we're pulling tension on that wire, making it nice and tall and straight. And we're going to go back and show y'all real quick a couple of mistakes that we made. This is our first time doing this, so one of those deals, just got to try. I think the next section will be better, won't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And we're not getting it banjo string tight. I mean, it's, you know, it's got a little bit of give in it, but I mean, that's, you know, that's a good fence. Okay, let's talk real quick about some mistakes that we made in this section here. First off, right here you'll notice there's a pretty extensive distance that does not have a T-post in it. Reason being is this area right in here where we're standing, there's about 2 inches of topsoil, and we're apparently on top of a solid rock. We went, I mean, everywhere over through here trying to find a spot to get a T-post in, and we could not. So here's the T-post that we were trying to get in. We just couldn't get that thing in. So what we're going to do, we're going to turn this into what's called a dropper. We're going to cut this. Look at the top of that thing where we drove the devil out of it and could not get it in. We're going to cut this thing off down to the depth line, which is right there, and we're just going to stand this up about halfway between that H post and that T post right there. We're just going to stand it up, and we will take some high tensile and we'll wrap it through these holes and then back around the high tensile behind it so that it holds it in place. And all that does is this just keeps the wire at the appropriate height. It doesn't provide any stability or nothing. All it does is it keeps the wire at the proper height. So that was one of the first problems that we ran into. We're going to have to correct that. So another thing that we done, this is not a mistake, this was on the advice of the folks from Timeless Fence. We did not put in what's called an H brace. Instead, where we had these sweeping curves, we put in H posts closer together. So we got these 3-inch H posts, and there's 3 of them right here in a row. And that helps to, because these things are a lot more sturdy, a lot more solid than the regular T-posts. They can stand the weight. They're also cemented in the ground. So that gives us a lot more stability to keep from getting a lot of this in and out movement based on the way the wire's pulling. Keep in mind, as that wire's tensioned, it's going to pull, wants to pull in a straight line, which would naturally bring the top of that post to the inside. But as you can see right there, it's standing up it's pretty plumb. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. And we've got plenty of tension on these wires now. So that was one thing that we done, saved us a bunch of money by being able to use these H posts instead of H braces. So another problem it's not really a problem. It's just the way that it ends up working out that we kind of ran into is like with this post right here. We were following the contour of the creek because the creek run, this is kind of the property line. We were following the contour of the creek, so it's impossible to get all these posts in a straight line. When those posts are not in a straight line, whenever that wire is tensioned, again, it has the tendency to want to go in a straight line, and it causes those posts to either sway in or out depending on where they're sitting in the line. So before some of y'all that are fencing experts jump on my case about my post leaning, that's just what we got, and that's the way it is. It's fine. We've gone around, pushed, pulled. I believe they're going to be okay. We'll keep an eye on them, but because we didn't do this in a perfectly straight line, that's just one of the things that we worked that ended up working out the way that it did. Now, as we move through the rest of the fence on the rest of this meadow down here, and it's going to go all the way around back here behind, as we work on that, we're going to make sure that we're getting that in a little better, straighter line. We picked up a tip from Timeless Fence on how to do that. So that's something we're going to work on, is trying to get our posts in a little bit straighter line so that we don't get that lean in and out. All right, I came over here to some of the prettier section to do the outro for the video. There's a lot of it that's in and out, and you know, we're just learning. I mentioned this on the last video. You don't have to do everything perfect. Just because so-and-so does it this way or so-and-so does it that way, you know, that don't mean that what you're doing is wrong. And you got to try. Until you get out here and you start driving fence posts and pulling wire, you don't know about fencing. That's how you learn. You just got to go do it. So, you know, if you're interested in farming, fencing, chickens, pigs, cows, whatever it is, you just got to jump in there and get you a dose of it. But anyway, like we say, please keep us in your prayers. May God bless you and your families. And we'll see you on the next video.